Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mercurio Nilasi Vivio and I'm from English Education Study Program, PE at Imadiun University, 4th semester class A. In this video, I want to explain how to read with skimming technique. With my title is French Brazilian photographer Sebastião Salgado dies age 81. This article is I got it from Jakarta's News Post. So before uh so when you eh, so so skimming technique is used by look for main sentence from each paragraph and main conclusion. And also you have to look at subtitle in my uh in this article. The subtitle is emblematic figure and ways of life in the red color. So in the first paragraph, I highlight the main sentence, main idea from the first paragraph that French Brazilian photographer Sebastião Salgado, famed for his immense body of work depicting wildlife, landscapes, and people around the world, died Friday, aged 81, announced the French Academy of Fine Arts, of which he was a member. And then the the last sentence, which means it's a conclusion from the first paragraph that a photographer who traveled a world constantly, he construct a particular form of a malaria in 2010 in Indonesia. His family said in a statement of AFP. 15 years later, the complications of this disease developed into reverse leukemia, which took his life. They edited. The first paragraph is complete, so we go to next paragraph. The subtitle is emblematic figure. From the subtitle, I highlight keywords from this paragraph in here. Emblematic figures. So from this second paragraph, I have found from the main sentence is Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula and Silva describe his compatriot as one of the best photographers the world has given us. So Salgado is the one of the best photographers in the world, they say. And then the last paragraph, Paris-based media writes, campaigners, Reporters Without Borders, or RSF, paid, this, paid tribute to an emblematic figure of a documentary photography, a photographer of all records. Sebastião Salgado was a keen observer of mankind and nature. It added in a statement online. RSF noted that Salgado had contributed 100 of his own photos to one of the albums it sells to raise money for its works. Second paragraph is complete, and then the last with the subtitle Way of Life. I found the keywords in here. So let's go to the main sentence from the third paragraph that the photographer leaves a unique legacy of images from his hundreds of journeys through the Amazon rainforests and across the planet, from Rwanda to Indonesia, from Guatemala to Bangladesh, capturing with his lens human tragedies such as famine, wars, and mass exoduses. From these main sentences, I found the keywords according to the main sentence that Salgado is active in the left wing students. And then left wing student movement of turbulent 1960. And then according to the I'm sorry, according to the main sentence that he has a hundredth journey. So his photos, uh, his photos of drought, drought and famine in countries such as Niger and Ethiopia landed him a job at renowned photo agency Magnum in 1979. Photography is a way of life, he told AFP, AFP in 2022 on a trip to Sao Paulo to present his exhibition Amazonia, the product of 7 years studying the world's biggest rainforest. And Salgado, also a dedicated climate activist, he was a fierce critic of Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro, who led the country between 2019 and 2022. And the last is Salgado also founded an environmental organization called Instituto Terra to revive the spring forest in his home state. Minas Gerais, a successful project joined by more than 300, 3,000 landowners. So we can conclude from a skimming technique that French Brazilian photographer Bastião Salgado dies age 81. French Brazilian photographer Sebastião Salgado, famed for his immense body of work depicting wildlife, landscape, and people around the world, died Friday, age 81, announced the French Academy of Fine Arts, of which he was a member. A photographer who traveled the world, Sebastião Salgado, constantly, he construct a particular form of a malaria in 2010 in Indonesia. His family said in a statement to AFP. 15 years later, the complications from this malaria of this disease developed into severe leukemia, which took his life. So this is the cause of Salgado dies. Salgado, a chief emblematic figure. Brazil President Luiz Inácio Lula and Silva describe his a compatriot as one of the best photographers the world has given us. Paris-based media campaigners report without borders or RSF paid, paid tribute to an emblematic figure of a documentary photography. A photographer of all records, Sebastião Salgado Hosnin was a keen observer of mankind of nature. It added in statement online RSF noted that Salgado had contributed 100 of his own photos to one of the albums itself to raise money for its works. The way of life of Salgado. The photographer leaves a unique legacy of image from his hundreds of journey through the Amazon rainforest and across the planet, from Rwanda to Indonesia, from Guatemala to Bangladesh, capturing with his lens human tragedies such as famine, wars, and mass exoduses. And the evidence from this is Salgado active in the left-wing student movement of the turbulent 1960 in 1916. His photos his photos of drug and famine in countries such as Niger and Ethiopia landed him a job at renowned photo agency Magnum in 1979. In 2022, he told AFP, photography is a way of life. On a trip to Sao Paulo to present his exhibition Amazonia, the product of 7 years shooting the world's highest rainforest. A dedicate, he's also a dedicated climate activist. He was a fierce critic of Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro, who led the country between 2019 and 2022. Adulas is Salgado's founded an environmental organization called Instituto Terra to revive disappearing forests in his home state. Minas Gerais, a successful project joined by more than 3,000 landowners. So that's the main of this article. Thank you and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.